Sandra Pabon, you're live on Women Investor Wednesdays.
Hi, Beth. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. How are you today?
Good. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited that you are here. So for those of you watching, Sandra just completed a $3.5 million renovation on one of my properties, Promenade West, with her company, Itasca Construction, on time and under budget.
Awesome.
Amazing. And during one of our many meetings, which we had weekly for 9 months, Sandra and I think, grabbed a bite to eat and breakfast one morning after our meeting. And she was telling me that since she's been attending the Women Investor Conference, that I'm going to let her tell the story. So that's a teaser. Okay. And I said, well, when she told me her story, which she's going to share with you all, I said, you have to come on the podcast. So that is why she is here. And thank you for being here, because I want you to share your story. But before we get there, I just want to share with everyone that's watching, in case they are not regulars, maybe they're new to the podcast, why we're doing this. So back in COVID time, I learned that of all of the investors in commercial real estate, only 3% were women. And of that, half were inherited or women signing on their husband's guarantees. So that meant that I was part of 1.5%, which I thought was terrible. And I started asking my friends if they invested, and I found out that they were not investing. And I asked them why. And these were women that are in the industry. And they said, well, we don't have $1 million. And I'm like, well, you don't need $1 million. And well, it's too complicated, and it's math, and it's too risky. And I'm like, well, where do you invest your money? The stock market. Oh, well, that's math, risky, and complicated also. So, but eventually, the more I kept digging, it finally came out that they said, we don't know any other women doing it. And if you see it, you can be it, right? So I decided to have a virtual conference where I interviewed 8 women that invested. And then we had breakouts, and 100 women showed up. It was great. And then since then, we've had 4 live events. Our next one's in March. It'll be our 6th. And it's great because every time at the conference, I say, who hadn't invested last year but invested this year? Since the conference, 10 or 20 women stand up. And last year I asked who's investing with women in the room, and like 40 women stood up, which was mind blowing. But I think that the reason that is the way it is, and you've been there, and we'll talk about how many times you've come, but the intimacy of the room, because it's so small, right? It's only 250 women. So I realized that if my goal is to get 3% to 30 by 2030, I'm not going to do that by just having the conference. So that's a long-winded story of why I started Women Investor Wednesdays, because I realized women, if they see it, they can be it. And if I can interview 50 women a year on the podcast that are investing in all different ways, then that will help compound the impact that we're having from the conference. And that's why you are on Women Investor Wednesdays.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, the conference is amazing. I attended the first one back in 2023 up in Orlando.
And Tracy Miller, well, tell the story of how that happened, because that's a good story.
So I went to a Crew event, Crew Treasure Coast, and you were the speaker for that launch. And when I left, I'm like, oh, she sounds interesting. So I went into your LinkedIn, find out, and I'm like, oh, she has this conference. Let me look into it. And it was very interesting. I'm like, okay, who is she friends with? So I saw you're friends with Tracy Miller. So I reach out to Tracy. I'm like, Tracy, do you know this lady? She's having a conference. Do you think it's worth going? She's like, absolutely, you have to go. I'm like, okay, I'm going to sign up. Then I took too long to sign up for the VIP ticket, and it was sold out. So I called Tracy back. I'm like, VIP tickets are sold out. I don't think I'm going to go. She's like, hold on, I'll call you back. I'm like, okay. So she called me back and she's like, you're in. I'm like, how? And she's like, you're in. Don't worry. So I drove up there with her, attended the conference, went to the VIP event, and it was life changing. Um, there were a lot of things that just click in my mind after, being there for just 2 days, day and a half. I don't recall. My husband and I have a couple of rental properties that I have always been afraid of investing. What if we don't have the money to pay it? What if something goes wrong? What if? And we got our first rental in 2023. Then we bought a second rental on 2015. Then after that, we bought another one on 2019, 2020, but it was all residential. And when I came back for the first conference, I'm like, well, a light switch just went on. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, if we lose it, we'll make it again.
Which is what I
But
get
it's
up
what
on.
you told me. Yeah, you told that in stage. And I'm like, well, that's so true.
Yeah.
So
Meaning what I said on stage is, look, if you're going to be an LP, right, and you can give $25,000, if you cannot, if you invest as an LP $25,000, and for God help us, if you lose that money because the deal goes bad, that would be awful. But can't you just make the 25 back? Right? Like, so it just kind of minimizes the fear of the risk. Right now, I'm not saying if all the money you have in the world is 100 grand, then don't invest 100 grand, right? But if you have 200 or 300 to invest, take a chance and invest the 25, because you should be able to make that back, right?
yes,
So
absolutely.
that was what I said on
Absolutely.
stage that year. Yeah.
So at that conference, Stacy was speaking about her self-storage. So I call her and I'm like, okay, how can I get in your deal? And so that was my first investment with someone from the conference. I also
How much did you
invested
invest?
50,000. Her
Oh
minimum
yeah.
was 100. Her minimum was 100, but then she lowered it to 50 for anyone that attended the conference.
Amazing. So how were you
And
scared when you did that, or were you just, okay, I like
oh
her, I like
no,
the
I'm scared. And I got all the paperwork and I'm like, I don't know what I need to look at.
right.
um, but my husband is more savvy when it comes to stuff like that. So we read through it, we understood everything, we sign up, send her the money and say, okay, we'll see. And it's going well.
Is
And
this,
then
did you say whose deal was that? Lauren's deal?
no, Stephanie
Oh,
Berdinian, I think
Stephanie.
this.
Yeah, yeah, yes. Okay,
Yes,
yeah.
yes,
So
with the
she was
self
at, so
storage.
you met her at the conference
I did.
and
I
she was
did.
raising money. See, that's what happens. There's women that come that are raising money, and then there's women that are coming that want to invest. It's such a
Yes.
perfect,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's perfect. So that was good.
And so she's fulfilling her plan. She's doing what she thought, what she told you she was going to do.
Yes,
Great.
yes.
Okay. Good.
And
Then the
then
next year, did you go to the conference the next year?
the next year I went to the conference and I think I reached out to Natasha maybe after the conference. And I'm like, okay, what deals do you have? I want to meet you a little bit. And then she was raising money for one of her properties down in Hialeah. So what I did is I got with my cousin and my brother, and we all form an LLC and then shipping on her deal for that, invested in her deal for that.
So how much did you put in that one?
I think we put 50, another
Yeah, I'm
50.
in that deal. We're partners.
Yes, we are partners. And
That's
then
awesome.
what else do we have? Oh, and then someone I know from the industry, I invested with him on 2 small bay properties and another self-storage. So 6 LPs since 2023.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then I'm doing all these calls with you and the Wired girls to, listen about all these deals. So that's super exciting.
Yeah, we've had, I think we've looked at 5 projects in the last 4 weeks, and I think we're going to be moving on one of them.
Yes. Yes,
So
I
I'm
think
I'm
so
working
too.
on that. I'm working on that
Okay.
one.
Okay. Good.
We'll be partners again.
Again. Yes. Woo.
So it seems like you've overcome the fear.
I did. I did. I still have a lot to learn, and that's why I like when you have this call. So I listen to whoever's presenting the deal, and then everybody is asking the right questions, and then we stay after, and you kind of walk us through everything. So, the more I learn how it works, the more comfortable I feel.
Absolutely. The more that you hear the questions, this is why I encourage. So when someone comes to bring me a deal, they're bringing me the deal, right? They want to know if I'm interested in investing. And so then I say, I'm happy to take a look at it, but I want my girls, right? I want you to present to my girls, to my ladies. I don't know what the proper terminology is, but I want you to present this deal on a Zoom call to my ladies. And then they agree. They don't always agree, but because sometimes they're not raising that much money. So, but if they're raising a significant amount of money, they're usually open to that. And then I say to the fundraiser, you may not get one person, but that's not my intention. My intention is that by you presenting the deal, the women, I'm going to ask questions, and other women are going to ask questions. And I want the other women on the call that maybe this is the first time they've seen a deck, they're going to learn from our questions, which is what
Absolutely.
you're saying is happening, right?
Yeah, and then sometimes I'm listening to them presenting and I'm like, "Oh, this kind of doesn't make sense." And then after the call, we were talking about it. I'm like, "Okay, I was right."
Right,
Or I'm
right,
like,
because
"Oh,
you're
I missed that. How did I miss that?"
right. And then what we do after the person presents is we kick them off, and then we have a little group discussion about, some observations. And
Correct.
and people jump in and they ask more questions to me or other people on the call. And yeah, it's definitely it's becoming a phenomenal educational process.
Yes.
And there's one of the last 5 weeks that probably, I think 10 of us are going to create an LLC and go in for 20 and do a
Awesome.
$200,000. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. No, I really enjoyed those every time you or Josie are like, "Okay, who wants to participate?" I'm like, I'm always raising my hand and say, "Yeah, sign me up for that. I want to hear." Like you said, the more we hear how it works and what questions to ask, the more educated I'm gonna be.
Right. And don't you feel now, how many have you been on? Like 4, 5, 6?
No, I've been on maybe 3.
Okay. And do you feel like on the third one, you knew more than the first one, right?
100%. Yes, 100%.
Yeah, it's exciting. So you're coming to the conference. So you've been to every conference since Orlando.
Correct. 3, 23,
Awesome.
24, and 25.
And last year you sponsored,
I did. Yes, my
and
company was sponsored.
this year you're sponsoring.
Again, yes, of course.
Yes. Thank you for being a sponsor. Well, I think it's important. So I think that I would say if we have 30 sponsors, 25 of them are service providers that I pay or have paid, right? So you were the contractor for the renovation of the shopping center. The lawyers that sponsor are my lawyers that I've been paying for decades. I've got my wealth advisor, my CPA, accounting and bookkeeping firms that I have used, my tax strategist. So I'm basically endorsing most of the sponsors, which then helps the women in the room as they are just creating their plan to invest. They might need a wealth advisor. They might need a tax advisor. They might need a contractor.
Absolutely.
And these are I don't, sometimes people call me and go, I want to sponsor your conference, and I don't even know who they are. So of course, if I think that they fit, I'm happy to have them sponsor. But I really like it when the people that I have used for projects and for decades sponsor, so that I can personally endorse them.
Yeah, last year we were like right in the middle of the project, so I was excited about that. And then next year we'll be able to show pictures of, the project completed.
Well, and for the women that are going on the bus tour, they get to go drive
Oh, yes.
right through the parking lot and see
Of
the finished
course.
product. Yeah, because last year the scaffolding and the fences were up.
Yeah. I also like that the conference is not huge. So as you go back year over year, you kind of see the same ladies, so you talk to them, and then, it's
Right.
you know what they're doing. They're talking about deals that they're doing with someone else, or you learn so much.
So this year, I just got back from Chicago. I spoke at the Resilient Investor Conference in Chicago, and Natasha came with me. Next year, Natasha's going to speak there, which is very exciting. But I decided, we were chit-chatting about the conference, and I decided, during the my opening welcome, I'm going to ask for everyone in the room that's raised money from the conference to stand up. And then I'm going to ask people, like, I'm going to say, Natasha, please, everyone sit down. I'm going to say, Natasha, keep standing. Everyone that's a partner of Natasha, stand up. And
Awesome.
everyone that's a partner with Aaron, stand up. So we're going to be able to see the impact of what's gone on since our first virtual conference in 2000,
That's
2020.
amazing. That's
Amazing. So you're
amazing.
going to get to
Yes.
stand up 3 times.
2 times. Or
Well,
maybe 3. Yes.
maybe 3 if Stephanie's
Maybe
there. On
3.
this new one, the
On
new
this
one you're
new
going to
one.
be in,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. I already signed up for it. So
Yeah. So what would be your advice as someone that, like you said, I was scared, like you didn't even really know me. You just heard me speak, and then you saw that I was having this conference, and luckily you called Tracy, and Tracy said, because Tracy's been at every one of the conferences, so that was the perfect person for you to
person to
call.
call.
I mean, I've had people in South Florida that have come, like there's this person once that I walked up to, and it was like a week before the conference, and I said, am I going to see you at the conference next week? She goes, what conference? And I go, my women investor conference. She goes, oh no, I went once.
Oh, no.
And someone was standing next to me who has been to all of them, and went, you went once? And she goes, yeah. Like,
I think you get value out of it every single year.
Yeah. And the person standing with me who's been to all of them said, well, have you invested yet? And she said, oh, no.
No.
So the other person said, well, you might want to come a second time.
Yeah. Last year, I know I left, and I'm like, oh, I have to do this, and that. And I have not followed through that, but I think every time you go, you get value, and the breakout rooms. You hear how they're putting the deals together. Some of them are very educational. The one Natasha did, not last year, but the year before, on how to read the paperwork, what to look for. So, yeah, I think people need to keep going.
Oh, yeah. We have this year, I think we're going to have a breakout on cost seg. We're going to have an accounting and bookkeeping group do a breakout. Of course, we have attorneys that are doing breakouts. We have lenders that are going to do breakouts on top of the women that are going to do their breakouts. We're going to have a lot of breakouts. I don't know how people are going to pick them.
Awesome.
That's always the complaint.
That's always the problem. Yes.
Too
Which
many
one
breakouts
are you going to pick?
from.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they want me to video them so they can see the replays, but we don't do that.
No, but you always get the information, and that's always helpful too.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
the ones
exactly.
that you don't have the time to go to.
Exactly.
So
So
going
what's
back
your
to your
advice?
question,
Yeah, your
I
advice for the person that, you know, they've seen it on social that I have the conference. Maybe they've watched these podcasts. Maybe it's a husband that's considering sending his wife. What would be your advice to those people that don't know me and aren't really, they're not really sure when I say that these events are life changing? They really are, but they don't maybe know me or trust. What would you say?
register to go to the conference. It's worth it. It's life changing. It's educational. Is tremendous value. Those 2 days bring a ton of value. You're going to surround yourselves with people that you know will also bring value to you. You learn so much because you meet people from all around the country who are in different markets, who are doing different things. Some are doing the same thing. I have a construction company, so sometimes they have a construction company somewhere else. So it's nice to talk about what they're seeing in the market.
And don't you think that the people that come are just they're just so generous with their time and their information? Don't you think? Like we have a
Everybody,
great group.
everybody's so willing to talk to you and answer any questions. Yes.
That's what I'm most proud of is the women in the room that are so giving because we have all different levels, right? All
Yeah.
different levels of women investors and some that haven't even, put their foot in yet. But every
And they're
year,
so willing to help. Like the first time I met with Natasha, I'm like, yeah, sometimes I feel intimidated. She's like, girl, give me a call. I'll walk you through it.
yeah.
So that's encouraging. That's super encouraging because I didn't know her. She didn't know me. But, we met for lunch because we met at the conference and then she felt comfortable enough to offer her help.
And now you're partners with her and me.
Yes, amazing, right?
Absolutely. All right. Well, I'm so excited that you went from no commercial LP investments to 3 in 3 years. Yes?
6 in 3 years.
6 in 3 years.
6 in 3 years.
So Stephanie, Natasha, the guy that I don't know.
Four with him,
Oh,
Stephanie and Natasha.
okay. 4 with him.
Yes.
Does he have a wife or a sister? They need to be at the conference. Any females in his
He doesn't
organization?
have a wife. Oh, actually, his partner has a wife. I'm gonna
So
ask them.
she should
I'm
come
gonna
to the
ask.
conference if
Yes,
they're
she
if they're
should.
finding deals, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell them. I brought my best friend with me last year and the year before, and then I brought another good friend with me last year and the year before. And
And
I'm
they're all
always
coming
telling yes, they're
and
all
they're all
coming
coming
back.
back.
Yes, the three of us will be there. And
We
I'm
have
always telling my girlfriends, you need to go to this.
we have 57 tickets left. We're going to sell out by year end.
Awesome. Did you sell out all the tickets last year?
Yes, we did, but it
Nice.
took us until February. So this year it's
Okay.
going to be before. Yeah. And I think we have 8 sponsorship opportunities left. We're at
Oh,
22 and we're going to have 30.
awesome.
Well, Sandra, thank you so much. Thank you for being a phenomenal general contractor and bringing
Oh,
in my
thank you for you
project on time and well, under budget,
under
65,000
budget.
under budget.
No, thank you for trusting us with your project. I was super excited when we got awarded that project.
And I was very happy it was led by a woman. And thank you for supporting the conference and being a sponsor and bringing friends. And I'll see you soon. I'll see you sooner than the conference because we're about to make another investment together, I think.
Yes, we are. Okay. Thank you for having me, Beth.
All right.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.